Hello everyone, this is Airy, and I thought I'd make a very quick impromptu video here about The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, and I'll try not to show any spoilers to you for the first 2 minutes or so. I've turned off the UI and I'm facing the camera in a safe direction here. And the reason why I'm making this video is because I'm about like 8 hours in, 9 hours in, and I've noticed a fairly fundamental difference between this and the previous game, where it seems like you're actually required to use fast travel in this game, and that goes against one of the core tenets of the world design of Breath of the Wild, I believe, because fast travel was not even really taught to you in Breath of the Wild. Like, it was actually optional for you to learn. And the reason why was because, well, one of the core design goals of the world of Breath of the Wild was that the overworld be actually interesting enough for you to not have a desire to use fast travel, because in many other games, even in prior Zelda games, fast travel was used as a way to skip the overworld because it was boring. And Breath of the Wild, it was their goal to make the overworld interesting. But in Tears of the Kingdom, in the tutorial section, the equivalent of the Great Plateau, I was actually explicitly told to use fast travel, which I kind of saw as a red flag. I thought that that this game was actually going to have a bit of railroading and linearity. And after leaving the tutorial zone, it's been a couple of hours. I've reached a point where it feels like I actually do need to use fast travel, and I'd like to show that now. So if you are concerned about spoilers, even though this is somewhat after the tutorial, do avert your eyes now. So turning the camera around, this section is actually more or less the section you land straight after jumping off. If you keep following the quest, you get the paraglider, you activate the tower, and then you're guided towards jumping into this giant pit where you get the camera rune. And there ends up being a large cavern system underneath Hyrule, and you meet with Robbie, that Sheikah. And if you jump down, the paraglider is practically required for this. And it's nice that there's no loading zone. And Robbie has left at this point, but he used a hot air balloon to get down here. But once you're down here, there's actually no way up. Like, there's no apparent way to climb up or even fly up the hole. And I've tried a few different methods. There is the ascend skill, which you get in the tutorial, which lets you go up through ceilings, and I thought that it would be disabled somehow. Like, this was before the game came out. I thought it would be disabled somehow in the giant cavern, but there are places where you can climb high enough to the ceiling, and you actually can't go through the ceiling. I've also tried tinkering with like devices and like rockets and stuff like that, and they don't last long enough to climb up. There are these light routes though, and when you activate these, you get a fast travel point. And when I originally saw this, like, I saw the light coming from above. It's a nice activation animation, and I thought, oh, this must be the way. Like, it must be, like, maybe this is how I activate the thing and get up back to the surface. But it turns out that wasn't the case. And I was kind of desperate for it, because I actually did not jump down this chasm at first. I jumped down a different one, and in my desperation to find a way back up, I eventually made my way to the tutorial area, because, you know, like, I can go in any direction I want. And I'm kind of hoping there is an actual legitimate way to climb back up, but it doesn't seem to be the case. It seems to be a bit of an oversight, because when I finished the quest, Robbie, well, at least when I finished this leg of the quest, he just told me to meet back on the surface. He didn't tell me how to get back up. And then the balloon that he took to get down here disappeared. There is one sign of things though, and it was mainly me from looking at the environment, but the game doesn't explicitly tell you. And that's why I kind of thought, oh, maybe I can activate the platform here, but I can't. And the one sign I do see is that if I look at the map and you look at this fast travel point, if you go to the surface, it's actually the exact same coordinates as a shrine. And this is just a hunch on my part, but I think every light route aligns with a shrine. Maybe a couple weeks down the line when more people have completed the game, they can see that pattern. I am still in a spoiler-free state, so I'm avoiding everything. But that I have seen a couple of cases in the game world where a light route doesn't align with a shrine, and maybe it's a hint. I don't know. Although I did also look up to the surface and make a pin for a shrine I haven't made yet, and lo and behold, there is in fact a light route right below it. Now I've only done 4 shrines at this point, and I haven't really found any more. But I mean, the inverse problem of me finding light routes and not finding a shrine was also a thing, but I don't know yet. Like, the game just came out yesterday, but I figured this would be an interesting thing to bring up that's really early on, which is a really, really fundamental change. Like, they've somehow altered the open world of Breath of the Wild in this way, because you need to use fast travel. Like, that's the short of it. I try to avoid using fast travel as much as possible, so now I've actually had to break my rule. I really enjoy just horse riding or walking around the world, and it's a small thing, but it makes you raise an eyebrow. It made me raise an eyebrow at the very least. Because that's the only way I can climb back up. If I could somehow, like, imagine to myself that this shrine was connected to the route, then that would be nice, but the game doesn't tell you that. Like, that's me assigning meaning, like just inventing a meaning. And maybe that's true. Maybe that is actually the connection, but the game hasn't told me that yet. But I kind of wish I could just interact with this panel instead of using the slate.